The lift-free Armory Falcon 9XC. Let's check it out. Lift-free Armory is based out of Melbourne, Florida. And one of the things that really has brought LFV to the forefront is their 2011s, their Apollo 11. It's under $1,000 yet made right here in the USA. But they also make a line of polymer frame striker fire pistols. Today we're going to take a look at the Falcon 9XC. But this is based on the Glock design, but it's compatible with Gen 5 parts. Now there's some features on this handgun that made me take a second look, and one of the big ones is the built-in compensator on the slide. It definitely helps to mitigate the recoil, and yet it gives that reliability of the Glock pistol. And there's a lot of other cool features. But one of the biggest, again, is the price. So if you're going to trick out your Glock, this gives you a really great option just straight from the factory to have all those bells and whistles incorporated into your handgun. And a big thank you to Lift-free Armory for sending the Falcon 9XC for this review. Lift-free Armory Falcon 9XC. They did come out with a 9X. It's a Glock clone. It takes Gen 5 parts, which I was a little bit surprised. And that gives you an advancement over a lot of the Gen 3 clones that are out there. This is an upgraded version over the standard 9X. We'll kind of take a look at it. One of the big things about Lift-free Armory is they're bringing firearms to market for a very reasonable price. Now the Apollo 11, that 2011, I'm telling you, for under $1,000 made right here in the USA, and the way it shoots and the way it handles, is really superb. And so this really kind of flew under my radar. I mean, it is a Glock clone, and I've reviewed a number of different Glock clones. I'm a big Glock fan, but I really hadn't paid attention. So when Lift-free Armory got in touch and said, hey, we'd like for you to check this out, once I got it in, I'm pretty impressed with this handgun, especially for the price. So first thing let's do is drop our 17+1 magazine. They are Magpul mags, the chamber's empty. You do get 2 Magpuls. And again, these are full-length grip, but of course it will take your standard Glock 17 Gen 5 mags or any of the Glock mags. And so it has that mag compatibility. And yes, it does take Glock mags. Then it has a really nice mag well. And this is removable. It is all aluminum, and it's very nice. This is an addition over the standard Falcon 9X. And this is C, not for compact, but it is compensated. So we have a compensated slide, and you have the comp built in. It's not a compensated barrel. The barrel is 4.02 inches, just like your Glock 19. But it is fluted, and I'm going to bring it back so we can take a look. And that just relieves weight, but it does increase cost of production, and it is crowned. And you're talking about a deep crown. And the barrel is made from 416R stainless steel. Of course, it has a black nitride finish on it. We do have ports in the slide as well, just for relief cuts. And then, of course, you can see the fluting. The serrations, very well done. They're not super aggressive, but they're definitely good and solid, and they are directional. I like this line that runs right down the front here, and this is just some extra styling, to be honest, and it does cost extra to have that done. And then, of course, the serrations go all the way up to the front of the slide. We have a black Cerakote finish. It does come in an FDE version with frame and slide, but I really like the black. I think it gives it a really nice look to it. It is optics ready, and this to me is an excellent touch with the American flag as your cover plate. This is aluminum as well, and this does take your armor cut. We're going to look a little bit more in depth at that in a minute, but this fits directly to the slide, which allows it to get low, but it does limit you to just the RMR cut. And of course, your Holosun sights that are full size will also fit with the RMR cut. Now we have a black serrated rear sight, does have a cocking shelf, and it is suppressor height, which gives you co-witness with the sight, especially if it fits down low. And then we have a tritium sight at the front, and it does have kind of a neon green circle, which really stands out during the day. And of course you have that tritium rod through it that really just allows you to have night sights. And it's also higher. One thing I like too is this cut. It's just kind of chamfered, and it gives it kind of a knockoff from your standard Glock slide. And here with the Glock slide, you can see it just makes it a little bit more blocky, whereas with the Falcon X, it's just a little more styled. It makes it look thinner. And this is the Glock Model 17, and with your standard 17 round mags, and it's empty as well. And I want to kind of compare it because it really does fit about the same size as your Glock 17. As far as the grip, it's probably just a touch shorter than your standard Glock 17. And that has to do, of course, the barrel being shorter, and then you have that little compensated area that brings it out just a touch. One thing I do really like about this gun as well is that it has a nice beaver tail. And you can see you have a nice area coming up, but this actually allows you to get your hand up high, and it distributes the recoil right across the web of your hand. And just like with the 1911, those beaver tails really make a big difference. But it does kind of stick out a little bit, but not too bad on this one. But I really think the advantages of that beaver tail definitely are worth having it. And then, like with a lot of the Glocks, you have to add an extra piece that actually makes the grip even bigger. The grip itself, it's not quite as blocky. I think they've rounded off a lot of the edges. It feels really nice in your hand. Now it does have a very aggressive texturing all through the side panels, and here at the front it has serrated lines. Now one of the things about that is when you're shooting, of course, the gun recoils up and down. So this just gives you those linear lines to be able to have a good solid grip on it. A lot of people would probably want a little more aggressive texturing because it's not very aggressive. But when you're holding it in your hand, it seems to fit really nicely. It feels very comfortable. And then we have this undercut, and then we have reverse undercut on the trigger guard. And it kind of bows out just a touch, really nice for gloved hands. There's no serrations or any kind of texturing on the front. Here at the back though, this is really unusual, and this is kind of a nice feature. When I first saw this, it's a little bit smooth. It has texturing on this back strap, but I thought, man, that's kind of smooth, and I don't know if I'll like that. But this is aluminum. And they do add a polymer replacement, so if you want that more aggressive texturing on the back, you can check that out. But when we get down to the range, we're going to check this out to see, how much this affects the gripability of the handgun, especially during recoil. I know how these work because I've got a ton of these different pistols that have this. So this ought to be interesting just to check this out. And of course, I have not fired this gun yet. I wanted to show it as is first, and then we'll do a range report. It does have this kind of a bull nose that comes up, and I like that. It kind of gives it a little more of an angle coming to the end, and we do have these angled cuts at the front. And again, that port, it does have cuts underneath on the slide. And that's going to help. A lot of times, if this is just a flat surface, it doesn't really give you a lot of recoil management and really allows this port to really be a little more effective just with that cut. You have your standard Gen 5 magazine release, and of course it is switchable to the other side. And then we have a flat face trigger. It is aluminum. It does have your blade right here, and it has a nice trigger pull, and we're going to get into the detail of that in a few minutes. Flat face trigger really makes it nice to be able to get that geometry just right when you're pulling that trigger back. But a very nice break, especially for a Glock type handgun. Slide stops on either side, very Glock-like. Of course, we have our takedown levers. And again, this does take your Glock Gen 5 parts. But one big thing about this handgun as well is they do have a lifetime warranty, and it's reliability warranty or any kind of problems you're going to have, they do honor a lifetime warranty, which is big because really if you look at it, Glock only offers a 1-year warranty. But it's a Glock. Now, it does have a 1-slot Picatinny rail. Again, similar to Glock, but when it comes to the standard Falcon 9, it has, I believe, 3 slots. But the slide does come out a little bit more on the end, and the barrel's just extended a little bit. And again, you don't have that compensation on the slide. But you can see even the barrel hood itself. I mean, it has cuts. It's just a really nice barrel. We'll take a look at it when we break it down. We do have thumb rests right here. They are textured, and we have it on the other side as well. And again, just to help with recoil management. And then after you're finished shooting, it's a great memory pad just to place your finger right here and keep it out of that trigger guard. But there is a little bit of an outcrop right here to give you just a little bit of leverage, and yet it doesn't stick out too much. And it is the 2-pin, which is just like your Gen 5 Glock. Here with the magazine release, it does have a cutout that comes up to the mag release. Here on the Glock, it does not. I think that's a nice added feature. Between the Falcon 9XC and the Falcon 9X, the big differences, again, is the compensator and, of course, a little bit longer barrel, and then we have these ports in the slide, and also we have a mag well. Plus, we have a little bit of a extended suppressor height sights, and I believe both of them come with a night sight on the front. But that is just really the main differences between the two. Now this is really very similar to the Glock Model 45 or the G19X. It has the full-length grip of 17 rounds, but it has a barrel that's only 4.2 inches, which is like the Glock 19. And so you have a Glock 19 recoil system. And that definitely makes a different shooting experience than the 17 or the 19. You just have a little leverage more than you do on your 19, and then you have a shorter recoil impulse here, and I find that, to me, it's very pleasing, the recoil. And so that's just going to be a little different with the Falcon 9XC, especially considering the compensator. And so just some differences about this over the standard Glock 17. Now I want to show you the plate system for your optic, and again, I love this plate. I think that's a real cool touch. But this is a direct mount, and of course, according to YouTube policies, I'm not going to show you how to mount this, which is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm going to give you just an idea of how this works. You'll see the 2 nubs, and this does fit your RMR or a lot of your Holosun sights. And so it just fits directly onto the slide, just like this. And then it does come with 2 additional screws that you can mount your optics. Don't use the screws that are holding in your optics plate. And so we've got it set. Again, it is direct fit, and when this is screwed down, it'll be really tight. And you can co-witness with the sights, and so that really is nice with these type sights. And you still retain that back sight. So this is a really cool system. And it really helps, you know, whether you use optics or not, it's just great to have those cuts. But, you know, optics are becoming huge, and there's a lot of good reasons. Now, when it comes to the trigger pull action, of course, you have your safety here. So if it inadvertently gets hit, it's blocked until you pivot that safety out of the way. We come to a wall, little bit of resistance, and actually a pretty crisp break. Reset. Right there. Not a short reset, has a little bit of a longer reset. Let's check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 13.7 ounces. 4.25 ounces. So really around the 4-pound range. The weight on the Falcon 9XC, 23.87 ounces. A big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. And we really appreciate Fiocchi, very consistent ammunition. Typically we have our little loaders here, but just left without it. And I hate it because it's really a lot easier to load these mags. But we can do it the old-fashioned way. The lip-free Armory Falcon 9XC. Again, it's a Glock clone, but it shoots totally different. There's a totally different grip angle. That beaver tail really kind of fits into your hand. It's kind of rounded off so it doesn't feel blocky. I like the way this feels. I like the way it handles. And of course, with the slide serrations, 17 round magazine capacity, that mag well really allows you to get those mags in, very quickly. Racking the slide with those serrations, they're good and solid. And of course you have your front serrations as well. Sights show up really well. I mean, that front fiber optic dot gives you a really nice sight picture in contrast with the black. Using that thumb ledge, it really helps. And I don't find my thumb flying off like I do on a lot of shelves. It just seems to rest right there, and because of the comp, it keeps it from bouncing around as much. Of course, the sights are suppressor height, so they're a little bit higher, ready for a red dot sight. So, I mean, this just honestly surprised me. I was like, well, another Glock clone. I've got a number. I've reviewed a bunch of them. But I think the big secret here is the price for the quality. I think that's a big deal. We had one malfunction, and it was only the very last round. The shell didn't completely clear the chamber. In fact, I didn't know it until I stepped away because it bounced off. I just happened to look down. But other than that, this has been completely reliable using the Magpul mags and the Glock mags. I think that Live Free Armory, because of the price, they're really bringing in a great quality option. And with the simplicity of the Gen 5, it's just a plus. And that 17-round magazine, it just keeps on going. I love it. And these mags are so plentiful and easy to come by. If you already have a Glock, that makes it even more simple. But great little gun. We've had a great time at the range. All right, for disassembly, drop your magazine, go ahead and check the chamber, make sure it's empty. First thing you want to do is pull the trigger, pull back about 1/8 of an inch, and pull down on each of your takedown tabs, and then just pull the slide off. We have our recoil spring and guide rod. This is very Glock-like. And then, of course, we have our barrel. Again, 4.02 inches, and we do have fluting. Again, the barrel's just a nice little barrel. And again, this is stainless steel. The slide, very well done, no tooling marks, and just has lubrication. And of course, you've got your firing pin safety right here, or striker safety, and very Glock-like. And with the frame, same thing. The trigger bar has been polished, and so that's just going to help and aid in very smooth trigger pull, and that's what we were getting. And we're going to take our Glock 19 slide. We're going to see if it'll fit. And yes, it does. Yeah, the parts are very close, very compatible. We haven't shot it. We may try to shoot it and just get a little feel to make sure it works. But overall, I mean, everything is working, which honestly I expected. And you may be asking, why is it as long as the 17? Well, you just have a longer slide. And so that dust cover and this part right here is going to actually mate up to the frame. Now, I really like the takedown levers. They're a little bit extended, so it's a little easier to get to. Sometimes with the Glock takedown levers, they can be very close to the frame, but this gives it just a touch extension. Of course, one thing that's great about the Glock design is that it is very simple. There are few parts, they're interchangeable, they're made to really exact standards, and it's one of the reasons why the Glocks have been so reliable and why a lot of companies really want to take advantage. Now here we're going to put our barrel back in, just reassemble, put our recoil spring and guide rod. I would say that is a Glock 19 recoil spring and guide rod. And then we'll just bring this back over, put our magazine in, test for function, and we're ready to go. Now, keeping your firearms maintained is vital for self-defense firearm, and Otis makes some of the best cleaning supplies out of the market. They are the official supplier for the U.S. military. They make a number of different type kits. They even make a small kit that the U.S. military uses. This is their tactical cleaning kit. It's all compact, very easy to use. They were the inventors of the bore snake, and this is actually what they call the ripcord, and there's a lot of accessories for this. They own Shooter's Choice, which makes excellent solvents and CLP in different type cleaners, and they also make accessories to keep your gun cleaned and maintained. And we appreciate Otis for being one of our channel sponsors. This comes in a pretty cool black cardboard box. And we have a range bag. This is a little different. It's more of a square, large zippers and a handle. And you get your lock, get some oil, your 2 magazines. The back strap is slipped right in here. Then there's a little Velcro keeper. This is padded, and then you have your pistol. So pretty cool setup. This would be great for the range. Retail price. With the Falcon 9X, we're coming in at $379 retail. That's very reasonable, especially with all the different features that the standard 9X has. With the 9XC, because of the compensated barrel, because of the magwell and some of the other features, suppressor height sights, these run $579. Now compare that to the Glock Model 17 Gen 5 MOS. They retail for $745. Of course, you know, market price is going to bring that down, but just to give you a ballpark of what you're looking at, and I think this is again a compensated version with some extra features to it. So I think that it's really an excellent price for what you're getting. Lifetime warranty gives you a little more confidence. Overall, the fit and finish, I really like this handgun. Sometimes, you know, you can get a hold of some of the more budget guns and you can feel that it's lost some value. And I think that Live Free Armory has done a really good job of retaining the value and the quality and yet bringing it to market very reasonably. Compatible with the Glock Gen 5, so it's going to give you a lot of different capability in case you have any kind of issues, and of course, you know, that way you can upgrade it if you want. It's optics ready, and I love this optics plate. And then you get the suppressor height sights, which makes it great, and then we have a compensated slide, which is going to help with recoil mitigation. Nice aluminum flat face trigger, very textured, aggressive grips. It's going to give you a good solid purchase. And we have an aluminum back strap, or you can go with the polymer back strap with a little more texturing. Serrations on the slide are excellently done. I like the cut across the slide just to knock the edge off, make it just a little more pleasing to me, not so blocky. Really ergonomic grip to it as well. And then the beaver tail just makes it, just keeps that recoil just spread out in the web of your hand. So overall, I think especially for the price, this is an excellent option. Guys, while there are a lot of different Glock clones out here, it just gives us more choices, and Glock has proven itself. And again, this being in the Gen 5 realm, that to me gives it a few more advantages as well. Again, they also make the AMPX, which is their aluminum frame Glock style pistol, and then of course the Apollo 11, which is their 2011 style handgun, and again under $1,000 and made right here in the USA. What are cons? You know, it's not necessarily a Glock, and to be honest with you, there's something about that OEM, just that Glock original design and how it's proven itself for a long time. We'll see about the Falcon 9XC or 9X over time. They haven't been out too long, I think over the past 4 or 5 months. And so there is some testing that's going to have to be done, but again, it does have that lifetime warranty. And I think you're just limited with either the Falcon 9X or the 9XC when it comes to the Glocks. You have a lot of different size options, caliber options, and those kind of things. But if you like the 9mm, it does have that, fits the Glock mag, so that's a real easy thing, especially if you already have Glocks. And two, maybe another con is you just don't like the Glock platform, you don't like the design. Well, then there are a lot of other handguns out there. But to me, I mean, for the price and what you're getting, I think this is an excellent option. And hopefully we'll be seeing some more compact versions, more for concealed carry. So the Falcon 9XC is a proven design, and of course based on the Glock Gen 5 series. The simplicity, striker fire polymer frame, and yet it has a lot of upgrades that really just put this ahead of the game, and for a budget price. And again, a big thank you to Live Free Armory for sending the Falcon 9XC for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. Florida, and I don't know where they are in Florida. They're somewhere in Florida. I would say Cape Canaveral. Falcon X9C for this review. No. And we want to give, no, 13.137 ounces. No. RMR or the Holosun like 507C or whatever it is.
The Lip-Free Armory or the LFA Fox.
After different spaceships, like this, like that. These run 579.